It was a gray winter morning in Chicago, the kind where the sky seemed to mourn with the earth. Daniel Carter, a billionaire CEO known for his brilliance in business and his ice-cold logic, was heading to a gala he had no interest in attending. His life was a carefully curated world of glass towers, designer suits, board meetings, and applause. But behind the power and prestige was a man whose soul had grown numb from years of chasing numbers instead of meaning. On that day, fate had other plans. As Daniel's luxury car cruised through a quiet neighborhood, far from the chaos of the corporate world, something unusual pulled his attention. On a cracked sidewalk dusted with snow, two small figures stood huddled beside a crooked cardboard sign. Toys CR for sale, need help for MOM, it read in uneven, childlike handwriting. A red toy car, the kind with chipped paint and worn wheels from too many adventures, sat between them. The twins, no older than 7, stood with eyes too wise for their age. Their cheeks were red with cold, and their tiny hands shook not just from winter's chill but perhaps from the weight of a burden children should never have to carry. Daniel didn't know what made him say it, but the words came out instinctively. "Stop the car." His driver glanced back. "Sir, we'll be late for." "I said stop." Moments later, Daniel stepped onto the icy pavement. The boy looked up first, shielding his sister slightly as if protecting her from another disappointment. "Hi," he said softly. Would you like to buy our car?" Daniel looked at the toy, then at the children, and finally into their eyes, those deep, aching pools of hope and desperation. "Why are you selling it?" The girl answered, her voice barely above a whisper. "Our mom is sick. She came back from the hospital, but she still needs medicine. We thought, maybe if we sold our favorite toy, we could get enough." He knelt in front of them, snow soaking into his expensive coat. "What's your name?" "I'm Sam," the boy replied. "And she's Sophie. We're twins." Daniel swallowed hard. His throat tightened in a way he hadn't felt in years. "How much are you asking?" Sam looked at Sophie, then said, "Even $5 would help. It's not just a toy. It was our dad's gift before he passed away. But Mom says people matter more than things." Daniel's heart cracked open right there on that street. These children, who had already faced more loss than most adults, were willing to part with the last memory of their father to save their mother. It was the kind of selflessness the world rarely witnessed, pure, raw love wrapped in the innocence of two tiny souls. He handed them $100 bill. Sophie gasped, her little hand covering her mouth. "Sir, that's too much." "It's not enough," Daniel replied. "But it's a start. Can you take me to your mom?" They led him to a small apartment 3 blocks down. Inside, it was cold and quiet. A broken heater clicked in vain. The walls were bare, and the furniture minimal. On a thin mattress in the corner lay a woman, pale and trembling. Her beauty was dulled by illness, but her spirit radiated a quiet strength. Grace stirred, startled by the sight of a stranger. "I'm sorry," she said weakly. "I didn't know they were out again." "Please. I don't want your money." Daniel sat beside her. "I'm not here for charity. I'm here because your children reminded me what humanity looks like." Tears spilled down Grace's cheeks. "They shouldn't have to carry this, but we have no one." "You do now," Daniel said gently. In the days that followed, Grace was transferred to a private hospital. Her care was fully covered, anonymously. Daniel made sure she had the best doctors, the warmest care. He didn't just help with her health, he filled their kitchen, paid their rent, and made sure Sam and Sophie had clothes, books, and the warmth of stability. But it wasn't just about money. Daniel kept coming back. He listened to Grace's stories, her dreams, her fears. He played board games with the twins. Slowly, the cracks in his heart began to heal. He had spent his life building empires, but for the first time, he was building something that mattered. Grace recovered. And one day, As she stood near the window watching her children laugh, she turned to Daniel and asked, "Why us? Why did you help?" He looked at her, his voice softer than it had ever been. "Because I was lost. And your children, their love, their courage, it reminded me of something I forgot long ago, what it means to truly care." Daniel offered Grace a job, leading a foundation he had once sketched in his mind but never built, one that helped single parents and children in crisis. Who better to lead it than someone who had lived it, survived it, and still carried grace in her soul? Years passed. The Red Car Foundation became a nationwide movement. Families were saved. Children were given hope. And in every office of that foundation, a small red toy car sat in a glass box, with a plaque that read, "In honor of two brave hearts who sold their favorite toy to save their world." The story became legend, passed quietly from nurse to volunteer, from child to dreamer. But Daniel never sought recognition. He didn't need it. He had found his redemption in the eyes of two small twins and the courage of a mother who refused to give up. One day, Sam and Sophie, now teenagers, stood beside Daniel at a gala. The same kind he used to dread. As Sophie stepped up to the microphone, her voice shook with emotion. "Most people think superheroes wear capes. But sometimes, they wear suits. Or carry toy cars. Or just show up when you need them most. Mr. Daniel didn't just save our mom. He gave us back our lives. And we promise to carry this kindness forward, for the rest of our lives." Daniel wiped a tear from his cheek, one he no longer hid. Because finally, he understood. Success wasn't measured in billions. It was measured in love. A small act of love can create a lifetime of miracles. You never know whose world you're changing when you choose kindness. Sometimes, in saving someone else, you end up saving yourself.